I would like to congratulate you for, for the 100 years. It is a big thing. I mean, being active for 100 years, it does show the impact you make in a community in Australia and people who are involved in the Rotary Club. It's very impactful. So it's good to be part of that. Tonight will be a little bit more about myself and also how the Living the Dream Foundation was founded. And then I'm going to be talking a little bit about the future of where we're headed. First of all, I do like to acknowledge the committee of members for the Living the Dream Foundation. We have Drew, Tan, Iwa, Randy, and we do have Simon, who hopefully join us online tonight. So, hi, Simon. And I also would like to welcome Robert. Robert, it's my new CEO mentor that's been appointed to help me how to grow in my role as a CEO. Okay, the story about me. All right. I was born 5 years after 1968, Russian occupation of the Czechoslovakia, and it took us 16 years to escape it. My parents married young in their early 20s, and I always will remember them as loving and caring. We were a typical working class household, both parents working hard, surrounded with many friends and families. My parents had a good sense of pride. They knew who they were, and they knew where they come from. They had self-esteem, they were self-driven, confident, and they knew their place in the society. Unfortunately, there was a marital challenge that my parents experienced and did have a massive negative impact on the well-being of the whole family. Unfortunately, my parents split. I was introduced to the sport of Olympic wrestling when I was 6 years old, and from an early age, I demonstrated a talent for the sport. At the age of 10, I was recruited to a government sports school, which is very similar to what Australia would call as Australian Seal Sport. So at the age of 10, I was already training twice a day, school in between, and then training in the evening. I was doing that for 6 years. The school was also a place of excellence where elite athletes were developed and nurtured to become the true representative of socialist regime. I had a great coaches, and not having father, this was an important place for me, a place where coaches were mentors and mentors that invested their skill and their time to see young boys become men. This was another place in my life where self-esteem, confidence, and pride were daily medicine. We all knew our place and we had strong sense of belonging. When I was 15, my mom told us that we're going to escape the socialist system, and she was planning our escape. I arrived in Australia in November 1989 in Sydney. We moved in our new home in Newcastle. No English, not knowing the culture, no language, no friends, no family. So we started very humbly, The beginnings were very humble. We moved into a small house. Me and my sister engaged in a school, and we enjoy our freedom of our new home in Australia. In 1990, we have relocated to Melbourne, and it's here where I met Sam Parker, the national wrestling coach for Australia. He was located in Victoria University of Technology in Footscray. Again, this was a place of excellence. Olympians, world team members, Commonwealth champions and medalists, a perfect place for a 16-year-old athlete to begin his career in Australia. I became a top pick to represent Australia in 1992 for 68 and 69 kilograms. Opportunity give me a privilege to travel the world, but in the same time experience diversity of different cultures. And I was always fascinated by the way people were living, especially who lived a similar life as I lived. In 1999, I met my wife in Australia. She's Australian from Frankston. And in 2001, we got married. In 2003, we decided to move to Mongolia to study the language. and hoping to work with Mongolian Western community. Once again, I moved into a place with no culture, no language, no family, and no friends. Because my passion for the sport, I did well in Mongolia. I got a job at the National Institute of Physical Education. I was assistant coach for freestyle wrestling coaches. I was working with the coaches, working with the athletes, and working with the community. Our firstborn son, Samuel, he was adopted in Mongolia. We got him from a local orphanage in 2004, and in 2006 we had our second child, daughter Lucia, and we actually had to come to Australia for the birth because that's what we were required to do as expats in Mongolia. When we returned to Australia, to Mongolia, the life was a little bit challenging for us being parents, because we become parents to two children very quickly. So we actually moved back to Australia. And when we moved back to Australia, I ended up with no job. I basically was unemployed. I was no longer working in a sports school. I basically had to start from scratch. And as I started working as a personal trainer, I was starting to identify in a community some of the kids who came from poorer families, disadvantaged backgrounds. They had no access to local membership, gym memberships, gyms. The people struggle financially. And so I thought, why can we set up something that created access for these disadvantaged young people, where they can enter for free and have a personal trainer and a gym. Let me just. Oh. So for me, it was basically, there are a lot of kids in a community who were living the dream. They had parents, they had families, they had the financial needs, they were engaged in school, they could do a lot of things. But there were also a lot of kids who did not live the dream. So that's what the name of Living the Dream Foundation started. As you can see on a slide, we'll see that bit of a history of Living the Dream Foundation. The foundation was kind of founded in 2008, 2009. In 2011, we got the DGR status. 2012, we got the DGR status. And then we're starting to establish programs that were impactful. The first program was Wellbeing Engagement Program, and that was very much focused on fitness, free access to fitness for disadvantaged young people. As we were working with some of the kids that loved coming to the gym, because they had nowhere else to go. You know, if it was nowhere else to go, they would end up on the streets, smoking, drinking, rebelling, and getting in trouble with the law. So this was a good way for them to come in and kind of invest their time in something positive. Once we start talking to the young people and the parents, we realize that some of the kids needed a mentors. I come from single parent home. I know what it feels like when you lose dad. And it was very difficult. It was very challenging. So mentoring became a program that allowed us to communicate with young people and be more like a life coach for them, where they can share their stories, their hardship, their burdens, and we can help them and we can guide them. I'm not sure if I'm pressing the line. Okay. So this is the wellbeing engagement. Very much what I'll just say, it was all about engaging young people in sport. Then we had the mentoring, and it was just providing guidance, becoming a life coach to somebody who really needed a mentor. When we talked to some of our clients, we realized that their needs were too bigger for us. So we established a member care. Member care was a place where we can kind of find somebody in the community who can help them, can provide, can assist their need. And that's what the member care was founded and established. Who are our clients? Well, our clients are very much a young people who dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, are disengaged from school, are disengaged from employment, experience a lack of motivation. Our community, it's also recognized as a low socioeconomic community, which was very much a lot of struggling families, single parents families, a lot of struggling young people. So what we did, we basically opened the door and just helped them coming through. The organization grew from nothing to about 100, around 100, up to 100 members each year. I was very much the main person on the ground, doing the work, doing the hard work. When the COVID came, it impacted everybody. It was even more harder for the families who already struggled. For us, because we kind of relied on face-to-face engagement, and a lot of people, a lot of young people and families needed that. They want that face-to-face. It was very important for them. When the COVID came, it kind of took it away. A lot of services closed the door as soon as the restrictions came in. Living the Dream Foundation was probably the only one organization at the time where we can actually maintain our face-to-face contact as long as we were outside. After, when the restrictions hardened up a little bit more, we were no longer doing that. We moved all our engagement online, and we did most of our clients through remote experiences. That was really good experience for us. We learned something new, and they also learned how to engage remotely. The COVID itself made young people feel they were not connected to the services. Obviously, there were a lot of services who had to close the door. They struggled to do remote mentoring and counseling. They wanted to do something more positive. They had a lot of limited access to support services. They were further disengaged from school, employment, and other employment opportunities. They're also starting to experience financial hardships as they're not able to work. With experiencing COVID, we look at our clients, and I thought, what else we can do better? What does our future look like? We have a lot of clients. I'm the one-man person. I have my committee who helping me to run the show. And we felt like we need to expand, and we need to have a new direction. Healthy community, this is why our division for Frankston. Where Living the Dream is a place where young people receive support to turn loss into a purpose. We will continue run our core programs, which is wellbeing, mentoring, and member care. We know our why. Living the Dream exists on the principle of solidarity, where we get to provide caring and empathy-driven environment, a culture where young people are empowered to make positive changes and are equipped to overcome adversity and work towards improving the quality of life so they can become vibrant and active members of our society. Our top priorities will be reduce poverty, improve mental health, and crime prevention. The targeted cohort will be families and young people on low income, women and girls with poor mental health, young people caught up in the youth justice system, young people experiencing poverty and homelessness, unemployed and disengaged young people. Healthy Community Project will be a community-driven solution to address the demand and the needs of the children and young people in our community. Young people who come through the doors of Living the Dream Foundation will improve their physical and mental health. They will learn practical skills, gain knowledge to learn new life skills and habits, increase sense of self-reliance, resilience, readiness and confidence, and also provide access to required networks and support. Some of our clients will experience short, medium, long-term outcomes. For example, I'll give you an example of a story of a client that came in last year, young female who was struggling with substance abuse. And after working with her, well-being, engaging in fitness, doing mentoring, and talking, we created an action plan that now she's not dependent on substance. Now that's a positive story. That's 1 year. Some of the clients might kind of go for a little bit longer, but I know from my experience working with young people that everybody's different. We have clients who've been with us for past 4 years. We have clients who've been with us for 6 months, 1 term. Now we have starting to get a lot of young kids with behavioral issues because schools are no longer providing for their complex needs, behavioral needs. So they come to us looking for solutions. Basically, we open the door, we let them tackle the tackle bags, we let them lift weights, climb the rope. Of course, everything has to be safe. But they enjoy themselves. They can be themselves. You know, they're not judged. They're not criticized. Parents love it. We got a very good feedback about the work that we do with the young people. Now, our age group now, it's from 8+ to 25. So we're really going to focus on working with the young families, young people, and young adults. Hopefully will come. I think the next slide itself was more about expanding partnership and the impact. When I mentioned at the beginning that being part of something like Rotary Club of Melbourne for 100 years, you have made a dramatic impact on the communities and people involved or actually participated in that. I would like to see Living the Dream Foundation go for that long, even longer if it's possible. We'll be looking for partnership that allows us to do so. You know, we like to expand. I like to learn how to be the, you know, how to lead the organization well, how to pass on my responsibility with our clients, with our new staff, and then we can expand to other local areas. A lot of areas like Frankston, low socioeconomic communities. That's where I would like to know, and that's where I like to go. I'm not really sure how much time do I have.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. I would like to say thank you for having me. This has been a good experience. I got a lot to learn from. If there are any questions, please ask. Thank you.
Really inspiring to say. I will start with the personal question, if that's okay. Do you outsource all of your staff and the support that you give to the community, or is it in-house, or how do you actually do that?
How we do our service?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the only person who does all the work. So I basically, So it's I open the gym at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we close the doors around 4 o'clock. So we have previously, before the COVID, we would have 5 clients, 6 clients per day. After COVID, because of cleaning and kind of safety issues, we can only have 4 clients per day. Yeah, so I'm trying to fit everybody in. Yeah. So, and in regards how I do it, well, we get our own funding from private people who kind of support and believe in the work that we do, and that's what allows us to deliver our service. Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to open the floor to any questions. Yes.
So, would you be making for volunteers or like funding? Yeah, much like in June, we want to see help in those ways. So we're all part of the that's what the kind of donation that is going on. and really believe in doing it. So, yeah, we'll make that super expensive. I think there's some questions from the people.
Yeah.
Like that must have.
Question, that might be easier. Really, does the organisation work with relevant government departments and other organisations working in the same spaces within a particular geographical area, and how are the programs funded?
Okay, so we locate in Frankston. We're about 12 minutes from Frankston City. It's a walking distance. In 2018 and 19, we're starting to develop a very close relationship with Frankston Council, especially the youth services. Because of the work and how we work with our clients, we got a lot of referrals from some Brotherhood St. Lawrence, Headspace, Youth Justice. We got more engaged working with the Frankston courts, working with the at-risk children. So we kind of broaden our network. Our funding basically comes from writing applications and grants, and it's private. And we're not connected at this stage with any government funding.
No government funding.
No government funding at this stage.
I've just got a question around, you've said that obviously you've got clients who are in there for 6 months or a year or 4 years, or what happens, I guess, is there like a graduation process? Like, how do you know that the client has graduated through and through, you mentioned about.
Yeah.
So you bring them back potentially to help with bringing, helping other people to show that there is a step forward, or?
Yeah, look, it really depends on the needs of the young person. If we have a young person who would come from youth justice system, they might be facing the court and they need to engage because of they've been given a diversion, and usually diversion provides them with prior positive engagement. So they try to engage with organizations that work with the young people. When they come to us, they do their, let's say they do their 2-week sessions or 3-week sessions, and then they might get in trouble again, and then kind of they have to go back into the system, to kind of, I guess, do the time for what they have done. We have clients with, for example, with complex needs, and when they come through the door, we ask them, how are we going to work together? That usually is done through meet and greet session. Usually takes to about 30 minutes to 1 hour. And we ask the question, if we are to work together, what is that going to look like? As many young people who come through the door, they know we focus on physical health. We're looking for them to really get engaged because they're actually not doing anything, right? So that's the foot in the door for them. Through that, we can kind of expand into more of a mentoring. And when they write their goals, they have to be a little bit more specific what they really want to achieve. So sometimes those goals can be achieved. I want to get confidence getting back to school. I want to feel good about myself. And that's what we basically work on with each client. Did that answer your questions? Yeah. Yes.
That's right. On one of the slides that you did have, it featured sports engagement for asylum seekers. Can you tell us a bit about that program?
I'm just going to repeat the question for the people online because they can't hear. Sorry. So the question was about sports and asylum. So
on one of the slides,
yeah,
it featured sports engagement for asylum seekers.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So in 2013, I got a phone call from AIMS, which was one of the organizations working in Dandenong that was dealing with asylum seekers coming to Australia. And they found me online because I did wrestling, basically. So they called me up and say, are you the wrestling coach? We have a couple of asylum seekers who said they're wrestlers. Would you like to see them? And of course, I'm saying, of course, yeah. So they come down. There were 2 of them. I remember their names. It was Salim and Najib. And we just basically become very good friends. And We opened a program for asylum seekers because it was suitable at that time for Living the Dream Foundation as well. And it was a huge support for the funding for them to be engaged. I learned a lot from working with our asylum seekers. The program went for 4 years, and I think we got up to 40 asylum seekers engaged in the program. We wrestled, we played soccer in Dandenong, we took them to wrestling nationals competitions, we ate Afghani food with them. You know, it was fantastic. I mean, the 40 came to the club, but as I was engaging myself more and more in the area, in the community, I think that's the key in the work that we do our best. It's actually go out there to get to know the people, and that's what I did. And directly, we were at 40 young men. Indirectly, I would say probably over 200 Afghani people that we have met through the whole process of 4 years. It was a fantastic experience. It was very good. Yeah. Unfortunately, when the visa changed for them, a lot of them were able to get work, and they were no longer in need, because when they came to Australia, they had no work. They could not work. They only had mates. There were 6 or 7 guys living per household. You know, they had nothing else to do all day long. Afghanistan's got strong history in wrestling. They love their soccer. Boom, we can provide that, we can deliver, we can work with them. And that's what we did. So, yeah, that was a very successful program. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Jim.
So at a high level, I mean, if this audience was, you know, federal government members, given, you know, the people that you have met and worked with, what recommendations would you make to Australian government to, you know, reduce the need for, you know, the sorts of programs that you run? What's important that we do that we don't do?
That's a very good question. I think the opportunity for a lot of young people who came from poorer homes, they struggle financially. They can access services when they can talk about their mental health issues, which I think it's brilliant, it's fantastic, it's important. But I do find out that a lot of young people, they need to be active, need to be out doing something positive. And to having environments like ours that they come in, our place is set up. We're dealing with a lot of young people with complex needs. We're dealing with young women who struggle with their mental health due to trauma. We have young people who transgender people. You know, like they come from various backgrounds. Our place, it's a safe place. We do one-on-one sessions. We do have group sessions that we provide for our schools, the local schools that we work for. And that's why our clients like what we do. We provide a one-on-one private engagement where some of their anxiety can be removed. They can feel themselves, be themselves, and they can open up a little more. And by doing so, we can kind of guide them and direct them in the right areas where they can get a better support. So if we can have facilities, micro hubs set up in Australia, they are funded for, let's say, 3 staff people who are passionate about physical activity, strength and conditioning coaches. They love the idea of mentoring younger people. Those micro hubs can facilitate, we do up to 100 people a year. If you have micro hubs set up all around Australia, that's a lot of people that you can help. That's what I think that would be my recommendation, providing that opportunity for those kind of things to take place. Yeah.
Okay, so
Please,
you set this up in Frankston.
Yes.
I live on the other side, which is Hoppers Crossing, but there's a very large migrant population in Hoppers Crossing. So if you were to set up something, you mentioned you do everything yourself, and that's probably not scalable.
Yeah.
How would you implement this program in other locations that probably need the same sort of help?
Okay, so to answer that question, I basically, the 10 years of experience setting up Living the Dream Foundation in Frankston can be duplicated. That's why we have appointed a CEO mentor to help me kind of learn a little bit more how to replicate what we do in different areas, in different locations. I did identify, yes, I am the main man, but being one person, there's a lot of pressure. We're dealing with a lot of kids, a lot of needs. Having 3 people as a staff would require, I would believe, would require 3 staff to run a micro hub that will facilitate a program. We also kind of look into the community. We kind of go on the Australian, the census data, and we look at the level of disadvantage, and we connect with the community and council and people, and then we basically kind of starting to structure how we approach working with our clients. So we basically will do everything same way. It will be just different people involved doing that. I hope that's answered the question. It's very replicable. It's very easy to be done. It's just, obviously, it's having the funding and finding the right people who have the passion working with the young people. Not everybody has empathy. I think for me, I think for years, I have strong empathy. I think I learned a lot in my life. So when people come to me, there is no, how would I say it? 6 months, all right, you out. We deal with you, problem solved, problem not solved. We don't do that. Some of our clients leave for personal reasons, and we get that. We understand that. But we make the call, just checking in. How you doing? What's happening? And that's important. We can do that. As an organization, we can do that. It's important. And we can do the same thing in other areas.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
That's great. I'm going to pass it to Stephen now.
I hand over to the president. Richard, on behalf of the club, would like to thank you for sharing your story and your stories with Renzo and also aligning those values. We do have a past president who famously has Phil Emberspeak, who has 400% made in Australia, bamboo, hypergraphic socks that just make you super fit, Richard. So I'm sure you can wear these with some of your clients and show them that having warm feet is a privilege, I guess, for some people can't. So again, thank you again, Richard. Please thank Richard.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Richard. Wow, that's for those who are online, and hello to our home viewers out there, and to those in the room as well. It was a real honour to be able to hear Richard tonight and hear about your background and really from what you came from sort of a communist single parent background to be an Olympian representing Australia, to doing what you're doing today. It's a very inspirational story, and it's an honour for us to be in the same room as you. So thank you very much. I think Sap stole the run sheet. He has too. I thought so. But that's all okay. One thing which I'm not sure if we've announced formally yet at the club, certainly we've spoken about it at the board level and certainly in communicating with members, but this year the Rotary Club of Melbourne is actually launching a sports committee. For a number of years now, we've had an arts committee, and the idea of the arts committee is twofold. One of it is fellowship, and a couple of weeks ago, many of our members went along to the National Gallery Victoria and enjoyed the Picasso Century exhibit. But at the same time, we do work for disadvantaged people and help them within the arts. There's a whole range of activities there. So this year, we're replicating the arts committee with a new sports committee. Again, a bit of a social side. We'll go to sort of sports matches and days and events, probably not Collingwood SAT, but maybe we've already got a Collingwood group and they're very much, we'll leave them to their own. But we'll be going to the cricket, we'll be going to the races, we'll be going to a whole range of things. But on top of the fellowship element, we'll also have a humanitarian and community element. And listening to what you've said today, I think there's some great opportunities for Rotary to be able to work with organisations like yours, and to be able to improve the well-being of particularly young people through physical activity and through sport. And it's great to see you as an Olympian who's able to sort of continue all the expertise you've gained from your training and your dedication, as well as the performance, to be able to provide that to younger people today. So hopefully we as Rotarians can do something similar. A few other notices. So typically at this time of the meeting, the President will announce a variety of notices, and we've already heard from Catherine and Jim about various volunteering opportunities that we've got with Around the Bay and Ryburn as well. So this year at Rotary Melbourne, we're really trying to showcase our volunteering opportunities for club members, and also to expand it so that we're able to get the organisations that we network with and work with to be able to provide volunteers as well. So here at Rotary Melbourne, we have corporate members as well as individual members. So we're hoping to get our corporate members more involved with our volunteering opportunities such as Ryburn and Around the Bay and some others. We've also engaging with schools as well. So our aim is to get schools, both government and non-government, to be able to come along and provide those volunteers to a variety of projects that we do. So in addition to the Around the Bay and Ryburn, last Sunday was National Tree Day, a program established by Planet Ark. And at Norton's Park in Wantirna, we had 25 members who were there planting trees. And in the end, I think in our area, we planted about 3,000 seedlings for National Tree Day. So a great volunteering opportunity, and there'll be more like that throughout the year. We've also pleased to announce that we've got we're starting back again with Second Bite, and that the volunteering with Second Bite at Paran Market is going to commence again in the next month. So Second Bite is providing, I guess we obviously have more food than we use and we need, and rather than throwing it out, in conjunction with Second Bite, we go to Paran Market, collect any food that hasn't been sold at the end of a Sunday, and then Second Bite use it to be able to feed those in need. So people who might be homeless, they might be disadvantaged in whatever way it might be. So our tree planting, our Second Bite's back. Also donations in kind store, where we pack containers. We receive donations of all sorts of goods from across the community, and pack them and send them around the world. There's going to be some more volunteering opportunities for that. So any organisations, whether it's schools who are involved with, think about your own businesses that you work for. It's a great staff day, so a great opportunity for staff to get together and have a good day, whether it's at the Ryman warehouse or tree planting. Just have a think about where you might be able to engage with that, and we'll be able to provide those opportunities here at Rotary Melbourne. Next Monday is the 8th of August, which of course commemorates the Battle of Amiens. 100 years ago, the person standing where I would be now as president of Rotary Club of Melbourne is Sir John Monash, who's one of preeminent Australians. And of course, he was involved as a general in the Battle of Amiens. So to commemorate our past president, John Monash, we held a special service at the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne on the 8th of the 8th each year at 7:45. So if anyone's available and would like to attend that, you're certainly welcome. The following day, we'll be having the Wednesday of that week, we'll be presenting our Monash Medal, which is an annual presentation that this year we'll be presenting to Emeritus Professor Peter Darville, AO, former Vice-Chancellor of Monash University, who'll be our 2022 Monash Medalist, and he'll be talking on the day. If you'd like to come to that, then please go to our website and you can book online for that. Our next evening gathering, will be an evening with Dr Renzo Mori, and that'll be held on the second Wednesday of the month. This week we're out of whack a little bit because of our Monash Medal presentation, but we go back to our normal schedule, the second Wednesday of the month, which will be here in this room, here at the lovely Lyceum Club. Dr Renzo Mori is a sustainability professor and researcher at RMIT. Oh, there he is. Very good. So if you've come tonight, please come back to our evening gathering as well for that. So with that, I think that's the end of the announcement. Thank you again, Richard, for such a wonderful and inspirational talk to all of us. Thank you to those online for taking your time this evening to join in and spend some time with us, and to those in the room. We're the lucky ones. We get to meet and talk with Richard and spend time with each other. So drive safely, have a good evening, and thank you.